A very good day to everyone. Let me present to you 2024's Young Technopreneurs Challenge and the information related to YTC 2024. Let's start off with a bit of introduction. Young Technopreneurs Challenge is a business plan entrepreneurial competition based on ideas and inventions with commercialization potentials. YTC helps participants to develop entrepreneurial skills. For this year as well, YTC will be conducted in two phases. Phase 1 is the registration, followed by a briefing session and business plan submission. In Phase 2, shortlisted teams will be invited for half a day online workshop, followed by an online pitching session, and based on these pitching as well as the submitted documents, the winners will be determined by a panel of excellent judges. First of all, maybe let's look at what is the overall objectives of conducting Young Technopreneurs Challenge. This is meant for inventors who are aiming to be technopreneurs or entrepreneurs as well. So the objectives are to create an awareness among students about business and entrepreneurship, as well as to improve presentation skills and introduce business pitching. It is also to introduce concepts like financial planning, value proposition, and marketing to students. YTC is also aimed to give students a real feel of the business world, as well as to help young people understand how to commercialize their ideas. We are targeting specific target groups, and for this year as well, in 2024, the competition is open to two categories. Category 1 is for secondary school students aged 14 to 17 years old, and Category 2 is for others who are aged between 18 to 30 years old. The category that a team will be in will be determined by the oldest person in the team. The competition would target primarily ASTI alumni, particularly the YIC alumni network. However, non-alumnus can also participate. All are welcomed. Each team can be made of 3 to 5 participants or students. Well, let's look at the participation process and what is the journey along the competition of YIC. We have put down 8 steps. Let me just briefly go through those steps. Obviously, step 1 is registration. So you get your team lined up and register with us at asti.org.my. Step 2, we will be conducting an online briefing session for all the teams who have registered. Step 3, teams will be asked to submit a business plan submission. Step 4, we will review the business plan and do a shortlisting process of the teams. Step 5, the shortlisted teams will be announced to all participants. In step 6, then we shall conduct an half-day workshop for those selected shortlisted teams so that they are more clear on what exactly to do for their final pitching, as well as some useful information about entrepreneurship and technopreneurship. Step 7, business plan pitching will be done by the shortlisted teams. And step 8, the final announcement of winners will be done. Let's look at some of the details now about the aim and what does YTC contains. One of the key items that the team must submit is a business plan. Let's say you have a good idea, a good product, a good system, or good service that you want to turn into a product or a service or a system. You must be able to churn it into a business plan. Let's see how to write a business plan. First of all, let's look at the learning outcome. This project or this challenge is an educational project. Our main purpose is not to create just entrepreneurs, but more to introduce to you to entrepreneurship. We hope by participating in this competition, you will be introduced to first business model. You get a closer idea of 2, marketing and customer segmentation. 3, revenue, cost and profit or margin, profit margin. 4, you get a clearer picture of intellectual property. 5, a working experience on writing a business plan. And 6, the team gets to prepare and deliver a business pitch. Let's go back and have a look at what do we mean by a business model. What is the business model? Well, business is the activity of making money by producing products or services, and then by buying and selling them with the hope of making a profit. Well, we don't get into a business if you don't make a profit, but do we? A business model describes how you will create, deliver, and capture value which you can sell to a customer. So the model is a plan, it's a blueprint. In business, new product development covers the complete process of bringing a new product to the market, and this is important. For this competition, okay, you have to write up a simple business plan report. Your report should not be more than 5 pages long because you want something crisp and tidy. Please focus on developing these aspects in your report. Number 1, we're going to list some of this. Number 1, product description. What do we mean by product description? Explain what is the problem your product or service is trying to solve. Or is your product helping to make things better? Describe your product and how it is solving the problem or making things better. Give a simple description of your product with diagrams if needed, because visualizing helps a lot. Number 2, business model. What is your plan to implement your idea into a product or service for the target market? Are you going to sell this in a subscription model or upfront cash model or counter sales? The revenue model. How are we going to get money out of that product or service? Example. This is an old example, a very popular example. Razor and blade model. Sell the razor at $1 each, a one-off selling, And blades sell at $1 each, which has to be replaced after use. This is called a recurring income. This is a good model. Number 3, identify the customer segment or target market who's going to buy your product. The customer segment are the types of people who will need your product. Tell us why and how you drill down to that customer segment. Tell us how you are going to market your product to them. So we want you to be able to identify the segment of the group of people who are going to possibly buy your product. Number 4, revenue streams. How will you generate money? What will generate the revenue? By selling products, by selling services, by renting the product? What is the one-time revenue and recurring revenue? For example, we refer back to the razor blade model so that we are clear of how long and when and how those revenues are going to come back. Cost structure. This is important. We cannot price an item without knowing the cost structure. What is the cost of development or producing or manufacturing your product or service? What is your startup fixed costs and variable costs? This is important to know. For example, the equipment costs. A simple estimate of this cost is sufficient for this program. Well, we are not asking for details in dollars and cents, but you should have a ballpark idea of what that costing entails. So make an educated estimate or guess of your cost structure so that you can justify to the judges that these are the ballpark values. 6, selling price. Once you know the cost structure, so you'll be able to garner how much you can sell a product or service. What is the selling price of this product? Try to justify your price. Would people buy your product at that price? Is there other product or service similar to yours in the market? Who are your competitors or main competitor with similar product? Why would a customer buy your product instead of the competitors? These are the pertinent questions we ask ourselves, as well as you should try to answer when you are pricing a product. Number 7, profit. What is your profit margin? Okay. Simply put, margin is equal to revenue minus cost. Okay. That's critical. Number 8, intellectual property. What is your plan to protect your IP or intellectual property? A simple explanation on how you plan to protect your idea. Because we want you to become future or learn to become future entrepreneurs or technopreneurs while protecting your product or service for your benefit. Number 9, a business model canvas. Okay, you must attach one page of business canvas. This is a tool. The canvas is a tool to help you see the big picture of your business. The business model canvas was developed by Alexander Osterwalder. It is a visual representation of current and new business models generally used by strategic managers at the corporate world. The canvas provides a holistic view of the business as a whole and is especially useful in running a comparative analysis. So you can compare between similar products, different services. So the business model canvas, which we're going to explain in the following slides, gives people a common language through which they can evaluate traditional processes and bring innovation into their business models. Let us look into the business model canvas. So this is a typical overall visual of a canvas or business model canvas. You can see some of the keywords that are lined up either in vertically or horizontally. For example, key resources, channels, revenue streams, and cost structure. So it gives you an overall one look of how in the business will look. Let's look at some of those components of that canvas. The first item, key partners. So we want you to note down who are your key partners or suppliers to produce your product, where you buy your raw materials, what are the motivations for the partnerships. Okay. So if you get your product free, how you convince them to give you for free, for example, if you can. So you want to know. Okay. The next item is key activities. The first is key partners. Second is key activities. What key activities does your value proposition require? What are the key activities that you have to do to produce your product? What activities are important the most in distribution channels, customer relationships, and revenue stream? Or how are you going to sell your product? Okay. Number 3, value proposition. This is very, very important. What core value do you deliver to the customer? In other words, why would they want to buy your product? How is your product or service solving a problem that they have? Or which customer needs are you satisfying by introducing the product? Number 4, customer relationship. What relationship that the target customer expects you to establish? Or how are you going to provide support for your product or service? How can you integrate that into your business in terms of cost and format? So these are the things that we want you to put in customer relationship. The next key element in the business model canvas is customer segment. Which segment of the customer are you looking at? Which classes are you creating values for? What kind of people are you selling your product or services to? Are they students? Are they young people? Are they families? Who is the most important customer so that you can prioritize them? Or who will be most interested to buy your product? So it's important to target the segment of the customer for your specific product or service. Key resources. Okay. What key resources does your value proposition require? In other words, to produce your product or service, what types of staff or experts or help would you need? What resources are important the most in distribution channels? Customer relationships, revenue streams. The next is the distribution channel. To which channel your customers want to be reached? How are you going to reach them? What channel are you going to use to bring your product to the customer? How or where would your customer buy your product or service? Okay, is it a direct sale, or is it from a retailing shop, or is it through an online platform? Which channels work best? How much do they cost? Or what is the cost of using such a method? Next, cost structure. What are the largest costs in your businesses? It's important to know. Which key resources or activities are the most expensive in your costing? Revenue stream are the most important item to look at. For what value are your customers willing to pay? Because they must see the value proposition in your product. What and how much do they reasonably pay? What are they paying for similar products? How would they prefer to pay? The payment mode, maybe they pay monthly. How much does every revenue stream contribute to the overall revenues? If there are different streams, how do they contribute to the overall stream? So those are the key elements that we want to have in a business model canvas. Well, let's typically look at an example of a filled business plan canvas. This product is for car owners. Okay. It is a system that will identify problems in your car which would need repairing. So it's a system. And this is an example canvas, okay, for that particular system. So it gives you some details and as well as an overview of what the product is, who are the partners, what are the resources, what is the cost structure, what is the revenue streams. So they are in key points, but it highlights all of them. So a canvas is like a map that gives you a fair bit of information about your product or service. Okay then, since we have got to know what it is, what the challenge is about, and how to do it, how to participate. Well, form a team of 3 to 5 people, submit a registration, refer to the Google form link at YTC webpage, prepare a business plan report, that's a report, and business model canvas, that's the overall visual, submit business plan report including the business model canvas. Again, refer to our Google form link at YTC webpage. If you are shortlisted, you are required to attend half a day online workshop and prepare a 7 minutes business pitch that you will present to the judges during the final online business plan pitching session. The pitching session will be followed by 3 to 5 minutes of Q&A by the judges. And that's the final whole process. Okay, that will age you closer to become a winner of YTC Challenge 2024. For further details on this competition and YTC in general, please visit asti.org.my at YTC 2024, or you can also email at asti2510@gmail.com or WhatsApp at 014-712-4217. With that brief introduction of YTC Challenge, I leave you with a strong urge to join us at YTC 2024. Thank you.